Welcome, Neola.
Hey, BK 2.0. I'm looking for the new Spaceship Boy music.
Oh, you mean You Too Much.
That would be it.
All right, here you go.
Thank you.
Loading.
See, anytime you look at the mirror, just tell yourself, I am made in the image and likeness of God. Chicken and
Baba, you too much. You too much. Look at what you have done. Pepper sauce. Pepper sauce. The 16, no need to rush. You take your time. You make me fine, oh fine. Then when I look at you, all that I see beautiful. Everything I did, I'm spiritual. Power and it forms your physical. And your physical, I thought you know. You more than you'll ever know. My own eyes have seen what no man can do. And it's you. Hey, I said, oh, it goes. Look at your face, so alive. Too much, you do much. Look at what you have done. Pepper sauce, pepper sauce. The 16, no need to rush. Me, I'm fresh. Holiness is a must. It's a must. Yeah, it's a must. Time to boogie down. No time to waste, gather around. Oh, Tana, smile, forget the frown. Make sure you stand out in the crowd. Hey, you're in the crowd, but not of the crowd. What up your light and make a sound. My own eyes have seen what no man can do. When it's you. Hey, I said, oh, it goes. Look at your face, so alive. Too much, you too much. Look at what you have done. Pepper sauce, pepper sauce. The 16, no need to rush. Me, I'm fresh. Holiness is a must. Yeah, holiness is a must. Alright, look at your face, so alive. I'ma take a back seat, I can deal it.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Why do you guys do this to me every time? You know I'm going to ask you to move up, right? Good morning. Oh, no, not the good morning, just the move up. Okay, so can I please have everyone who is on that row, please join us in the middle. The front row is free. I'll give a special hug and kiss to anyone who sits on the front row. So let me let you in on a little secret. So when you are ministering from up here, it's really discombobulating when people are like scattered all over. It sucks your energy. So if you guys want them to do a great job, can you fill up the seats in front of you, like pack it tight? There are seats in the front all the way here. Thank you very much. If you're behind the fifth row, could you please move to the front? Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sharp, sharp. We're already 30 minutes behind schedule. Thank you very much. To receive the best that you have for us, to live the life that you have for us. Thank you, Father, because we know that you hear us, because we have prayed in Jesus' name. Amen. Good morning. I'm just going to... Oh, you ready? Oh, fantastic. I'm going to just go ahead and introduce Casey and Megan. I'm going to let them do a little spiel when they start off, just to get you to get to know them a little bit. But I don't want to... spoil the surprise. So give it up and give a new Covenant House welcome to Casey and Megan. Woohoo! Amen.
Good morning.
Good morning. You guys ready to get some work done this morning? Like, this is not going to be us talking to you the entire time. You guys are going to get activated in a lot of things that we're going to talk about. So,
Okay, so last night we were here, obviously, with the married couples, and so we got to introduce ourselves. But we are Casey and Megan, and we just quickly, like a little part of our story, we met in college. We're college sweethearts. The day I moved out of my mom's house at 18 years old.
And I was part of the freshman welcoming committee. And I was like,
and you know
hey,
why he joined the freshman welcoming
you get a
committee.
private tour.
Yes. And it worked, and you got me. Yes. So dating was super fun. Engagement was rad. Like, we didn't really have many fights, and we got along, and it was pretty easy, and we're like, let's do this forever. And then when we got married, all of our fights started on our honeymoon night, like literally. And it went downhill so fast that by the 3rd year of our marriage, I wanted a divorce. We had grown to hate each other. So how does this couple who loves God, we loved each other, madly in love when we were dating and engaged, barely fought, go from that within a 5-year period of dating and married? 5 years. Just, it was horrible. And in that season of those 3 years where we were struggling in our relationship and our marriage, we realized we had a lot of insecurities that we didn't even know were there. We had childhood baggage, like wounds that we brought into our marriage. So between both of our parents, there's 12 marriages. 12. There's a lot of divorce.
My
affairs.
mom's been married 6 times.
Yeah.
And she's not even a celebrity.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Your mom is an interesting person. Yeah,
Your mom is a very interesting person.
My mom is a very interesting person as well. We both have like so we had some mommy wounds, mommy issues, right? We're both really stubborn people. We're both leaders. We both like to talk a lot. I think even too, there were things like we didn't know how to manage finances. We didn't know how to communicate. We didn't have like conflict skills. Like, what do you do when you disagree? And so all of that just kind of came crashing in to our relationship. And genuinely, we hated each other. Yeah. And it wasn't until, and so I begged this guy, let's go to therapy. And he was like anti-therapy. And I'm like, what? Because I grew up in a home where I was all pro-therapy. And he grew up in a home, anybody grew up in a home where therapy like wasn't talked about, discussed, it wasn't good, right? The majority, right?
I was like, yes.
Okay.
How's everybody?
How about some of us? Raise your hand if you were raised where it was like therapy was good and normal. Is it? Yeah.
We got one.
Yeah.
We got one.
So, but even
Lucky.
Even that difference, right? It was like, well, we're stuck. Like, don't we just go get help with somebody? And he's like, absolutely not. So I went to see a therapist on my own. And I'm just sitting there for 45 minutes on her couch. And I'm just venting about all the things he's doing wrong in our marriage. Because it wasn't my fault. No, I didn't want to admit that it could be my fault, right? I had so many insecurities. And she finally said, hey, listen, if you want to make a better marriage, it starts by making a better you. 2 healthy people create a healthy relationship. And your husband's not here, but you are. So I can show you how to be responsible, accountable, a great communicator, how to follow through with boundaries, how to forgive him even when he doesn't apologize. I'm like, you can teach me all that? And she did. And so anyways, long story short, for 13 months, I worked on myself. I took all the focus off of what he was doing, what he wasn't doing. And it actually was really empowering. It gave me the freedom to really look at myself. And then we started healing our marriage. Yeah. You saw the change in me.
Yes.
And it took years. So we damaged it in about 3 years. And it took about 5 years to heal. We would say it wasn't a quick fix, by no means. And of course, God pressed on our lives to help as many couples as we possibly could, because there's not a lot of marriage resources out there, surprisingly, for how many people get married. And we're so excited to be here with all of you, because we would have given anything to be where you're at when you're single. Yeah. Because we didn't do that, and we had to do it while we were married and figure out our crap. And we really wish that we had done it when we were single.
So we want to invite you into our mind. So think about this. God says, I want you to bring healing to relationships. So just picture for me for a second. So we sat down on a whiteboard and we said, okay, so here's marriage and here's where everybody's having problems. Okay, so what if we actually helped couples before they got married? Then they probably wouldn't get into that issue, right? And then, so that's why one of our first products we created was a premarital course to help couples prepare for marriage. And again, strategy, right? Let's do this the easy way, not the hard way. If we're just dealing with people's issues, we're dealing with all the symptoms. right, of something. But what if we dealt with the causes? And I think that that's why Megan and I got really passionate, really excited for every single one of you here. On your journey, see, you don't have to get here. You're here, okay? Before you walk into relationships, what if you walked in the healthiest version of you? And we were thinking, okay, well, what do you mean by the healthiest version of myself? Well, this is someone that's processed insecurities. Insecurities, we're going to talk about how they actually create dysfunction in relationships. And now, if you're starting to deal with them before you enter into a relationship, we're going to walk you through actually how you can build confidence in yourself and even set healthy boundaries. Like, hey, listen, I'm a person of value, and I'm not going to allow you to treat me like that. I'm not going to allow you to talk to me like that. I'm not going to allow you to violate even my sexual boundaries because I have confidence in myself, and I know my worth. But to get to that place, you have to deal with some of the insecurities that we all deal with. So before we get started, I just kind of want to give you the lay of the land because you and we all, are going to be hanging out like for the next 12 hours. You guys realize that, right?
12 hours? Oh,
yeah, 12 hours. We're like through the afternoon, and then tonight we've got a really exciting opportunity to help you guys connect with one another. But I just want to give you kind of like, here's kind of the game plan. So this morning, we're going to deal with insecurities. I know, it's super like, right on.
Saturday morning fun with Jason and Megan.
Exactly. But I promise you some of the hard work we're going to go through is going to help. The rewards are going to be well worth it, okay? Then in the afternoon, the married couples, the boring people, right? Right?
They weren't that boring last night.
Oh, yeah. Oof, that's right. We're going to walk through expectations. So expectations, when they are unmet or broken, they cause hurt and harm. And we're going to walk you through how to heal relationships from broken expectations. And then we're going to go there. We're going to talk about sexpectations. In today's world that we live in, obviously, we are a highly sexualized culture where sex is on everything from music to entertainment. And we want to bring together, like, what are proper expectations when it comes to sex? And again, the idea is you guys are participating in that conversation, so you walk into your next relationship with what are healthy expectations when it comes to sex and relationships. And then tonight, we're going to have a way for you guys to connect in a fun, really fun way.
So Casey and I were like, what are some things that we wish we would have, like a married person would tell a single person? Like, what do we wish someone sat down with us when we were single and said, make sure you know these things? And so that's what we wanted to share.
So I have 4 things I want to share with you that we wish, again, that somebody shared with us. And the first one is this. You're on God's plan. Now, I realize you're walking into this room and you have hopes and you have dreams, but they aren't actually here today. So they're almost like these future hopes for like myself. Like, will I find myself a person that I can do life with? And I want you to know that God's desire for you is to be connected, to do life with someone. Your time is just not here right now, but you are on God's plan. And I always remember when I was a high school kid, somebody wrote in my Bible, God's past faithfulness demands my present trust. And you know he is a good, good father. Can I get an amen? He wants to give you something good for your life. He is not withholding anything. And so these statements like, well, what if I never? Create fear and even doubt that God has either abandoned me or left me behind. But that is not the case. So I want you to drop the fear of the future and just recognize right now, I'm dating Jesus. And someday he's going to hand me off to someone and I'm going to get to do life with that person.
And I just want to share, like in that season when he wouldn't like admit that he was making mistakes in our marriage and I was going to therapy on my own and working on myself, I felt like a single person. I did not have a willing husband who was showing up and doing work. He was just sitting back and pointing fingers and blaming me. And I will say I had to, what you said, babe, like let go of that fear of the unknown, because I did not know if my marriage was going to make it or not. That's why I didn't change for him. I changed for me. I changed because I was convicted by the Holy Spirit too, that I had some things in a lot of areas I needed to work on and grow in. And so even like this is applicable to someone who would be married, and to say, like, you don't know, there is no certainty even in your marriage in that sense. Like, you want that, but we're sinners and we all make mistakes. And so that's why you just have to really focus on God's plan and that hope.
And it's a little cheese ball, and I've got some concerns about when people say, well, put Jesus at the center of your marriage. I have a lot of things to say about that. But I think what the intention is that my first priority is Jesus, is God. And I'm chasing after him. And my spouse is this compliment that's amazing. But it's the same thing when you're single. You're still chasing after God. The second thing I want to talk about is shame. There tends to be, especially in religious communities, is like, hey, Megan, so when are you going to find that right person? Like, are you dating? Have you met this guy over here? There's kind of this like, well, why aren't you here yet? And I want us to just lose that, because I think when we're single, there can be an anxious thought like, what's wrong with me? Why? Well, there's like almost a desperation, like I need to be at a certain place. And that creates a bit of a shame scripting. Like what I mean shame is there's an internal process of there's something wrong with me, that if people knew who I really were, they wouldn't love me. And I actually see a lot of people escape shame is they'll actually find themselves in the wrong relationship rather than being single. And I want you to own your intentions. Like, I am looking for a mate for life. And I'm going to do it the right way. And I'm not going to settle. But that shame scripting can push us into that place. So, and I know that, again, there's no, singles aren't the JV and the married people are the varsity. No, nothing like that. You're on a journey, right? That's it. The third thing is really the comparison game. And I think this is really important. There's a lot of people that say, well, I thought I should be here by now. Look at my other friends, or look at my other peers. They're already married, they're already having kids, and I'm not. And that comparison game can, again, create a lot of anxious thoughts. And those anxious thoughts, when we act on those anxious thoughts, do we make good decisions? No. Do we settle? Yes. So, again, we need to all we're saying is recognize I feel anxiety about being single. It's okay to say that, okay? I think sometimes we almost don't want to admit that. It's okay to say, I feel anxious about being single. Because if we at least own that, then we can know and be aware, I don't want this to drive me into the wrong hands, right? We all want to be successful. We all want to be successful. We all want to be the best version of ourselves. And it's hard when we're starting to look to the left and to the right. But remember, you're on God's plan.
Comparison is the thief of joy, right? You heard that quote before? It's like when we start comparing ourselves, we lose that joy.
Well, and social media just fuels it. Yes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, once we see all our friends, oh, they're in Hawaii? I'm not in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in rainy Dallas, right? We start seeing ourselves at different places. Oh, they got that job. Mm-hmm. Oh, they got that car.
That house or that apartment that looks so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing I want to talk about is just learning how to be happy on your own. And this is a married talk, okay? Yep. So there's a scale that we've talked about with married couples of scale of 1 to 10 of neediness, right? Now, on the 0 scale of neediness, we'd say these are people that are very independent.
I don't need my spouse. I don't need anybody.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing, right?
Yeah. Not healthy in relationships, okay? And then there's on the 10 scale, these are codependents. Anybody met a codependent before, right?
where they need the other person to make them happy. They're so codependent on the other person. I have all these gaps and holes in my life, and you are going to fill them, and it's your responsibility to fill those.
You mean like when we first got married?
Yes. So Casey, actually, we should switch sides. You're on the scale, if the 10's over there. So when we got married, he was the codependent one.
Oh, totally.
And he looked at me to feel like everything.
You're going to make me happy.
And what do you think I felt when he did that? Pressure, a burden, like, whoa, dude, you got serious expectations that I'm never gonna meet. And then I was the independent woman, like, I don't need a man, I'm good, I got myself, and I got myself and Jesus, I don't need anyone else. And he's like, I sure would love it if you could somehow like bring me. And so the goal is to actually be in the middle.
Yeah, so like the middle is what we call interdependence, right? It's like two halves that are coming together, and there's blending, but they stay right there. There's not like a clobbering, and there's not like independence, like we're roommates. So here's what I would say is, as a single person, learning to be happy with yourself and who you are means that you don't consume the person that you start dating.
Yes, please don't do that. Because all of us independent people will feel choked, overwhelmed, burdened by that. Yeah, we'll switch.
Okay.
But I will not be codependent. It's my promise.
So it's almost like in marriage, the healthiest couples learn how to generate their own happiness. And this is actually how we share it. You learn to generate your own happiness, and you share that with each other. It's beautiful, but it's not, you're going to make me happy. Yeah. And I think that is a mindset you have to understand. It takes maturity going into a relationship. And we're all kind of like hyped up on the love drug, right? Come on, when you first date somebody, how high are we? Very high.
Someone said high as a kite.
Yes, you're magical almost. Yeah. And I think sometimes we feel like, oh my gosh, this person makes me feel this way. Yeah. Therefore, for the rest of my life, this person's gonna make me feel this way, right? So let's just drop that myth. All right, one more thing I wanted to share with you before we get into insecurities, which is just an exciting topic to talk on Saturday.
No, I was like, are they going to be sad that we chose insecurities? But we felt like it was just too important not to talk about.
Casey and Megan, talk about communication. Or you guys ready for that? Guys, yeah? You guys all drink your coffee, okay? We'll give you a coffee break if you need it. Okay, couple things that I wrote down. I said, things I wish I did when I was single. I wish I traveled more. Yeah? Oh. Bless. You have nothing tying you down. You want to take off to like check out the panhandle of Florida? I don't know. Wherever you want to go.
Florida? Let's talk about like Europe, Canada, Vancouver, Brazil.
Cincinnati.
I don't know. Cincinnati?
No? Okay.
Houston? No. Casey's like, the panhandle of Florida, is that where you want to go?
I don't know. I was just thinking, I just came to mind, like Florida, it's warmer. I don't know.
Go back to Hawaii, things like that. Yeah.
Anyway, so.
But it's true. Travel. Yeah.
Travel, and as a single person, it's awesome. Find another girlfriend, boyfriend to like buddy up with and head out. That's awesome. Girlfriend, like,
A friend. You could just say a friend.
There you go. Not a girl that's a friend. Well, okay, we're moving on. Service. You have the gift of time. And using your life in the service of others is one of life's greatest joys. That is what brings true fulfillment. A life that is self-absorbed, inconsiderate, is a very shallow and boring life. And that is one of the things that I wish I did more of, was being able to serve others, because there's such joy in that. And then the other thing is self-development. So I regret that I did not spend more time processing my childhood. My mom is a very toxic person. She's narcissistic with borderline personality. I also married someone who has a mother-in-law who is narcissistic but bipolar. And I wish I would have spent more time really identifying, like, what are behaviors that are healthy? Like, what are the good things? My mom did some good things for me, right? Let's call it out. Like, she cared for me, and she made sure that I was in good schools. But there's also some bad things, but I did not know the difference.
Because when we started dating, he ranted and raved about his mom. At that point, she was on her 4th marriage. And I was like, well, that's kind of a lot of marriages. Like, and he's like, oh, she's such a great person. And I'm thinking, and then when we got married, I'm like, I had to be the one to tell him, like, she's not a great person. Like, she doesn't call her son ever. Isn't that weird? I think that that's weird. But like, there's a lot of things that she does. But I think for you, it was like the 20-80 where you looked at the 80% was good and 20% was bad, but really the switch was flipped, and really it's 80% bad, 20% good. Yeah.
And when you accept someone for who they are and all their toxic behavior, just understand, and we're going to talk about this, you are giving tacit approval that behavior is okay. So when my mom does not call me, that's not okay. But I accepted that. And it's almost allowing toxic behavior into your life. And so part of the process this morning, we're going to get into our insecurities, okay? Everybody in this room has insecurities, right? Can we just get an amen collectively?
We'll raise our hands. We all have,
yes.
Us included on the stage, have insecurities.
I have insecurities.
Let's all say it. I have insecurities.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Megan. I have insecurities.
Hi, Megan. Now, there are parts of our lives, there's a very, like a bar graph. Like, there are some areas where we are confident, right? We may be confident in our looks, in our job, in our position in life. We are confident with the way we interact with people. But we have areas also of deep insecurities that we're going to talk about, how we act with them. And I'm just, you know what? Here's the thing. I want to say that this is going to be hard work, but this is really heart work, okay? We're going to ask you to be vulnerable and deep with yourself. And while this isn't the sexy part of like, I'm learning how to be a confident person, like this is the first step, is owning this is who I am. This is how God created me, and this is where I'm at in life right now. And these are the fears and concerns that I have. But the more we face those fears and concerns, the stronger and the confident you are going to come on the other side of this talk. And I would never ask you to do something that I wouldn't do first. So can I be vulnerable with you guys? I'm going to talk about a very, very deep-seated insecurity that I have.
I think you're still in process, to be honest with you. I think you're on the tail end of it.
Okay.
I can say that because we've been married and together for 22 years. So, like, I've seen you go through this process when you share it.
When we first got our very first apartment we were at this place called the Aspens. It was really beautiful. And they gave us apartment number 35K. And I will never forget, the first thing that I said to Megan was, okay, remember, this is 2003. So before you go, wow, the bar is really low for Casey. But I said, when I make 35K, we've arrived. 2003, folks, 2003. Just think, okay?
We were young, and that was a lot of money.
Think about this. I was like, oh my gosh.
It still is a lot of money, but we live in California, so it's nothing in California.
Yeah. And so for me, I believe that in order to be a successful husband, I need to provide money and lots of it for my wife. And I grew up, my parents weren't rich. They weren't poor, but we were clipping coupons, right, growing up. And so I felt like, well, in order for me to be successful, I need to be at a certain level. And then somebody came along and gave me the worst advice. If you want to move up in a company, you have to move out. So I started to transition jobs like I was changing pants. So by the time that we started Marriage 365, 10 years later, after we were married, I had 30 jobs. Yes. And it wasn't like,
it's
okay,
a lot. And imagine every time coming home to his wife saying, oh, by the way, I was fired, or I was let go, or I'm changing jobs. And, after a while, like the first couple times it happens, after a while I'm thinking, why does this guy keep doing this? Like, what's going on here,
And it was tough for Megan. I brought instability. There was so much pride and ego, even with my friends, the way we would talk, like, oh, yeah. So what are you making this year? Oh, I'm making this plus bonus. I should be able to do this. And it was like this, it was almost like we're topping each other in a competition that became really unhealthy and toxic, actually, with one of my friends I really care about. But it only became about how much money we were both making. Yeah. And this insecurity was that I felt like I wasn't enough until I reached a certain level. And do you think that when I reached that level, I was enough? No, because it was not about how much money I made. It was about the fear of who I was that was fueling this dysfunctional part of my life. And I mean, like, it's not something I'm proud of. It's not something I say, hey guys, I had 30 jobs, chop that one, ha ha ha. No, it's something we actually don't even share publicly, so you get the little inside scoop. But it was an insecurity that I had. And I think about, too, like an insecurity that I had even with my own body image. I was like a $125 graduating high school, and that was me wet. I was a scrawny kid, and all of the insecurities about even my own body image, about how people saw me, of skinny and scrawny, like, that fueled a fear about how people saw me. And so we're going to talk about insecurities.
Yeah. So I want to give you the definition of kind of what we came up with as an insecurity. So it's an anxious emotion related to things we feel inadequate about or wish we were different about ourselves. Let me read it one more time. It's an anxious emotion related to things we feel inadequate about or wish we're different about ourselves. So this could be like confidence, self-worth. It could even be like when we have insecurities, we may be confident with like our friend, but then we meet with this friend and we're insecure, right? We see that lack of confidence. And I really think it's even how we view the world around us. There's certain things that happen in life and it makes us feel insecure and less than, not enough.
Yeah. And so this, as I've kind of expressed, like this fear-based thought process kind of starts becoming the wiring by which we act out on. And that's where it gets dangerous. So I wrote down here this: I must not be smart or talented enough because I haven't gotten that promotion. And so how do you think we respond out of that? Is it a healthy way? If Megan knew how bad of a dad I think I am, she wouldn't love me. And so here's what's going on. And I totally believe that this is the work of the enemy in our lives. We create this narrative, right? Casey needs to make $35K in order to be successful. Or now it needs to be $80K. Someday it's going to be $220K. Once I make six figures, then I'll be happy. And I start getting this scripting, this narrative that at some point when I make a certain amount of money, I'll be happy. Is that true? No. So I believe a lie. And that is my reality that I'm living out of, is I operate out of this lie.
So when this is a false reality that we're living with. So we want to talk about two ways and how we kind of cope, and I'm going to say manage our insecurities. I use air quotes because we're not really managing them. We think we're managing them, okay? Two things we do. We overcompensate or we hide. This is really important, okay? So overcompensation, we try really, really hard to show that we've got it all together. So we'll take 100 pictures before we post on Instagram the best picture of ourselves. We will go to dinner with friends and we will brag about whatever it is you're trying to overcompensate of that insecurity. If it's a relationship you're in, it's your looks, it's your new house, it's your parents, it's your education, whatever that is. It's like they come across as like braggy or arrogant. You probably don't even know you're doing it, or we don't even mean to. But to someone else across the table, it's like, wow, she's really bragging about herself, right? But we want to overcompensate. I was going to think about, like, my brother is this person. My brother is someone who, when you talk to him, he tries so hard to show that he's got his life in order. but his life is a mess. And I don't even care that it's a mess. We love him no matter what, but he's not happy with himself. And so it's very loud, it's very obvious. He's always done this from the time he was probably like a teenager. Okay, so that's overcompensation. Okay, we kind of tend to like, I feel insecure, I have to prove my worth to the people around me in my life, okay? I have to brag on social media. Those are some examples.
Oh, have you ever heard of a topper? Have you ever been around a topper? Anybody been around a topper?
Like if you're like, I got a raise, and
Hey,
I got a raise too. Like, oh, okay, great. Congratulations.
Did you know I went to Hawaii for a week? Yeah, I went to Hawaii for 2 weeks last week, so.
That's my brother.
No,
it's like this constant, like, what are you laughing at?
Do you know I went to Hawaii? I just visited the panhandle of Florida.
Yeah, apparently
3 weeks.
that's Hawaii to Casey. Yeah, good to know. I know where I'm taking you for your birthday. Okay, so if we're not overcompensating, we're hiding. This is when you avoid rather than going out. Like I always think of like, this is a really common thing with women when we're really insecure about our bodies. We won't go out in the bathing suit when everyone else is in the bathing suit, right? Because you don't feel confident in with your appearance. And so you're going to hide, right? You may not go to parties or be social if you feel awkward socially, and rather than putting yourself out there, you're going to just hide. I think about we avoid pain, and so if we're feeling insecure, it's a painful area in our relationships, in our friendships, in our relationship with God even. We will avoid. I think a lot of people hide from God when they're feeling insecure. They won't go to church anymore. They won't go to something like this because they don't want to expose what's under the surface of, if you really knew who I was or my thoughts or all these insecurities that I live with, you wouldn't really like me. You wouldn't accept me. Now, I want to tell you something. We can overcompensate and we can hide. We can do both. Some people, like my brother, only overcompensates. But most people, I would say, it depends on the relationship, who you're with, the season of life. So like there are areas where I would hide and there's areas that I will overcompensate. So just be aware that those are how we handle and manage in an unhealthy way our insecurities.
So we're going to give you some real life examples kind of based off of our own experience. Yeah. Of how these insecurities get played out. So I told you I have a mommy wound, okay? So growing up, I had probably like 7 or 8 different iterations of home life. My mom divorced, she's got a boyfriend, then she has a second husband, then the third husband has a kid from a previous marriage, so we're now in a blended family. And I was tossed around. And I never really got from her like a, hey, are you doing okay? Like with all this change. She never checked in with me. She never like proud of you. She never said like I'm proud of you or I'm really excited about your accomplishment. It was just kind of like tag along with me and let's fight through life and survive. So when I see my mom, if I'm not aware of it, I can quickly go into the highlight reels. Like, hey, Mom, so did you see we wrote a couple books? And did you see what we did? Went to Florida?
He starts overcompensating. He wants to do the brag reel,
now,
right?
And I'm not saying that when you are with your parents, it's a bad thing to say, hey, Dad, like, check this out. This is what I was able to do. But you have to be aware of what are you looking for? What we're going to talk about this afternoon. What's the expectation that you have? What kind of response are you looking for? Hey, like, I would say that to my mom, and then I would get nothing in return, and I would feel disappointed.
He'd come back in the car with me, and he'd be in a bad mood for a day. I'm like, why are you expecting this from your mom? And really underneath is he was looking to her to fill that insecurity. And he showed up by overcompensating. Yep. And all you really want is for her to say, I'm so proud of you. And should she say that? Yes, every good mom and great dad would say that to their kids, of course. But we now know that, of course, this has nothing to do with him. This woman has her own set of issues that she's struggling with, her own insecurities, right? So, okay, we polled 20,000 people on Instagram, and we asked, what are they insecure about? Any guesses as to what you think the top answer was? Body image. Yep, looks, body image, appearance. Doesn't surprise us, probably, right? 80% of people's responses were something with body image or appearance. Weight, my smile, my hair, my height. I mean, you name it. We saw every response in the book. And so I think, especially us ladies, right? Like we're marketed to that we're not enough, that we need this beauty product, that we need to lose more weight, that we need to do X, Y, Z to be this whatever way we're supposed to be. And it's a really common thing. And I know for me, that's definitely one of my insecurities has always been like my looks. And I was a ballet dancer and I'm a curvy girl, so that's not really allowed in ballet. And that was always something that I was always too fat to be in the costumes that were given, And so I think a common thing when we're hurting about our appearance, we feel insecure, is when someone pays you a compliment. Wow, I really like your shirt, or I like your hair. If you don't believe that about yourself, what you hear, you'll go, oh, thanks. Or you'll even hear people say, no, it's not. It looks fine. It's horrible today. You'll actually dismiss the compliment from someone. Yeah. Someone's, I feel guilty right now. No, it's true.
You shoot down the compliment.
And let me tell you, this is a really big thing in marriage. Like if he would tell me in the beginning of our marriage, like, I'm so attracted to you, and I felt so ugly, I'd be like, how could you be attracted to this? And then he's like, what? I'm like sitting here telling you that I think you're pretty. So I think we can even say, oh, thank you. But inside our head, we are dismissing the compliment. And that's a sign of insecurity about our appearance. So.
And you guys, this happens in singleness. I'm just remembering as you're saying these things. Yeah. These are the exact same things you're going to experience in marriage. Okay?
It's just, you just get more awareness.
Here's the thing is that when you're in a relationship and you're dealing with your insecurities, that's actually kind of the storm of dysfunction that stems out. And even as married couples, we're dealing with individual spouses that say, you need to deal with your insecurities that you're confronting right now because it's creating noise in your relationship. One last one that I would do is if I made a mistake at work, like I had a very fragile ego. I still do, just so you know. And if someone called me out for a mistake, I would overcompensate by like, oh, no, it wasn't my fault. Oh, I didn't get the instructions right. No, it was Tom's fault. He didn't give me the email. And I would blame, I would try to point to something else because, again, I had too fragile of an ego that if I admitted I made a mistake at work, what do you think my colleagues would think of me? Right? So again, these, in our culture, I think there is a deep-seated insecurity that we do not have a safe place to be vulnerable. And what's so cool is you guys have each other. We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to start with our worksheet. Everyone has one. If not, there's some extras. You need a pen and you need this worksheet. Okay?
And actually, what we're going to do is if we can pull up some quiet music, some contemplative music.
Start playing in just a minute. So I want to explain what you're going to do. So ignore the blue box. As you can see, that's for this worksheet's something we have in our app for couples, but it works for individuals too. You're going to focus on the circle. So there is this scale, if you want to look at the slides, and I want you to think about these areas that we've listed, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how much space are they taking up in your life? So if let's just take the first one, like personality. If you love your personality, you've owned it, you're like, I'm a little kooky or a little feisty, whatever. You love about your personality, and you don't really ever think I wonder if, there's things in my life that people don't like about my personality. You're going to rate it a 1. It's not, you're confident, it's not an issue. But if you worry in social settings about your personality, right, you might be more of a 7, 8, 9, 10, okay? So you're just going to take each one of these topics. Now, some of these don't maybe apply to you. That's why we left a blank space. There might be something on this list that we didn't even put, and instantly, I am so insecure about this. Put it on the bottom, but put a number to it and be honest with yourself, okay? And if you want to get up and sit over there and kind of do this on your own, we're going to give you maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's what I want you to do. And just, if we could just do this real quick, actually. Let's collectively pray. Because I believe this is a moment for you to set some time aside, invite the Spirit into your heart and say, I don't want to be blind to my own insecurities. That's the last thing that you want to live, a life of self-deception, where you are not willing to admit to yourself the things that you're struggling with. And I realize that it is very vulnerable, and it's probably going to be really scary to even write a number. You're not going to share this with anybody. This is just between you, your pen, and the paper. But I want to just invite the Spirit of God to speak into your heart and reveal things. Again, we serve a good Father who wants you to experience fullness of life, for you to be the healthiest version of yourself. What I don't want is your own fear to prevent you from stepping into that journey. So, Spirit of the living God, I ask you to invite you into this room. I just imagine right now a swarm of angels just hemming us all in. We ask that you would remove any sort of enemy attack that would want to distract, lie to us, keep us from the truth. So we ask the Spirit of truth to be alive and well in this room, that you would speak clearly to every single heart that is hungry to lean in and to know exactly how you've created us and who we are. And we ask this in the name of Jesus, amen. So we're going to just put some quiet music on. Again, you guys are kind of close to each other. It's okay. Take a spot. There's plenty of room around here to spread out and say, you know what? I need to kneel down in the corner and go through this worksheet. So we're going to give you time. And now I'm going to stop talking.
So if you finish the rating, if you flip over the worksheet, there's some really great questions. You can just start kind of thinking through and answering on your own, writing down answers. They're pretty deep.
Real quick check-in. Just want to see how. Just raise your hand if you're still working through the worksheet, just so I know. No hands? Okay. We'll give you guys another minute or so. Now, Megan said if you have already gone through it, just for a second, again, I just want you to take this moment as be selfish. This is your moment. Go through those questions on the back just to reflect as a moment to just check in with each other, okay? All right. We're going to come back here. All right. So this weekend's all about being vulnerable with yourself. So I'm just going to pick at random and ask, what was your top insecurity?
Stop. No.
No?
That's just cruel.
You in the bed. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Actually, though, I think it would be really interesting to hear from you guys. And I would want to say, be courageous to say, what was it like to go through the process? Maybe not what your insecurity is, you can keep that to yourself. But what was that process? What did that feel? Like, what did you experience in that?
Or did you learn anything new about yourself that you didn't even know was there?
So, a courageous volunteer, once we get the thing started, it's hard to get it to stop.
Except for everyone who checked public speaking as a 10 for insecurities, like, I'm not gonna, yeah, sure.
Go for it.
Well, do you want to share then? Okay.
I have no problem public speaking. So I think for me, while I was checking everything, I think I had to think back to, like, am I really confident about this, or have I overcompensated in those moments? And to, I guess, redirect whatever I was feeling in the moment, and then I was okay. So I had a couple of those where it was like, wait, did I overcompensate or did I hide? Because without, I think, that slide before, I probably would have put different things.
It's good.
That's awesome.
All right back.
I was just going to add that I think for me, it was hard.
Here, put it right up to your mouth because we all hear you.
I think for me, it was hard to know how to rate myself. So, like, what's a 5 versus a 6, for example. But also, like, it was helpful to see how I've grown, because there are things where maybe 3 years ago it would have been like, I don't know, an 8, but now I can say that they're a 6. So some things were easy to see, like the growth, but to be able to know what the number on the scale is, I think that's one thing I struggled with.
Hey, real quick, can I get some volume in the monitors so that way I can hear that thing? Thanks. That'd be awesome. Okay. Oh, right here. Oh, yeah. We've already got a mic.
Is it on? Oh, okay. Mine is, I'm a little too blunt in how I talk. So I come out very aggressive. If anybody in the church knows me, you know for a fact, the way I talk, I come out really harsh. Even though I don't mean bad, I don't mean to be a little aggressive, but that's one thing I had to work on. My sister even had to tell me. She said, sometimes, Kim, when you're talking with people, the way you project, they're like, hold on, back up. You're a little too much for us right now. So I'm learning how to, I guess, work on that. If you can tell a little bit, I still have it in my voice a little bit, but I'm trying to work on it a little bit more. So that's mine.
That's good. I hope there's a dude that's going to share soon. It's all the ladies. I'm just pointing it out.
Come on.
For me, right here. Hi, guys. For me, I think I just had to look back in the last week or last 2 weeks. I think there were like maybe daily tasks or even at work where, you know, it would cross my mind, but I never, you know, addressed it as an insecurity. So I think being able to see it on paper, I'm like, okay, yeah, did I hide from this? Did I overcompensate? Just going back on like the dialogue that happened in my mind throughout the week, that's what helped me go through like the rating. And some of it was just really shocking. I was just like, oh, it happened.
Hi, my name is Chelsea. I would say, because I actually did it twice. I did it when we first came in here, and then when you said for us to like be more intentional, I took some time to do it, and it was real interesting when I was like a bit more intentional, like trying to rate myself based off of how I feel, because a lot of times there's a lot of things on this paper that most people would say, oh my gosh, Chelsea, like 10 out of 10, like personality or humor, like all these things. So definitely like looking at it, okay, Chelsea, how do you feel about yourself? Not necessarily what like everybody else kind of says.
That's huge what you just said, because I do think when we're told by our parents or our friends, they compliment us on things, it feels good, but that doesn't mean that we're necessarily confident about those things internally.
All right,
That's
gentlemen,
good.
you're next. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
I'm proud of you. You're next. Love it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Solomon.
Solomon.
Yes. So when I went through this process, it really was because as a man, you know, we battle with trying to have this mindset like we're invincible. So for me personally, it was something that was like really humbling to just kind of look through and like pause through each one, just because like, for example, like for me, I'll say my insecurity was my smile and my sense of humor. Like sometimes I have like a dry sense of humor, and I just think that over time, I think it's something that I try to just accept, you know. So like it was trying to battle between, is it really insecurity? Am I trying to accept it? So I feel like that was like kind of my personal battle. So I don't know if that says anything, but yeah, that's what my process was.
Well, this is a great question to ask when you are meeting somebody. Not like the first pickup line. So tell me your insecurities.
Yeah. Give them a worksheet and go, fill this out, and then let's talk.
Yeah. Will you fill this out, please? And then we'll see if we're going to be compatible.
Yeah, don't
no, but
do that.
I think if you meet somebody, let's just call it a red flag. Oh, I don't have any insecurities. Like, okay.
That's an insecurity, and that's a red flag.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Great.
Rich. Okay, ladies, Rich. Nice.
And I think you did a great job with public speaking.
Yeah, you did.
You seemed
Come on,
pretty
ladies.
confident, but internally you're struggling. So we are here for you. You wanted to share, right?
Hey guys, I'm Tam.
Taya?
Tam.
Tam.
Yeah.
Okay. Gentleman
so-
Tam.
I think I've always known I had insecurities, but one thing I did to kind of like cover them was like develop this I don't care attitude. Like I don't care about that, or that doesn't bother me. But when you actually like look through a list and you contemplate on them, then you realize I think I do care about that a lot more than I tried to act like I didn't. So just looking through it and like spending time on each thing made me realize the things I thought I didn't care about actually bother me the most.
Good. That's really good. Yeah, that would kind of go under like the hiding category, right? Like over the compensating, it's like, I don't care. Like I'm just going to avoid it. Yeah.
Now, let me just remind us all. How do you think God sees us? Right? He looks at us and he is like, you are beautiful. I love you. I died for you because I value you so much. So these insecurities, whose work is that?
Enemy.
The devil. The enemy who wants to kill, destroy, and take our eyes off of what God's called us. So, anyways.
Yeah. Okay,
just a
we'll do
reminder.
one more.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Nini. And so I will say that I have not completed this because I'm a processor and I struggle with it because some of it are like, is this me or is this what people have told me? Is this something I'm working through in therapy? So I just haven't. So that's where my struggle is. Like, I haven't completed it.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. And hopefully, for those of you like Nini, we'll take it home and spend more time. And you may not even know the answer right now. And I would say that's when you give it up to God and go, I don't even know how to rate myself. I don't want to just put a number to put a number. And that just means that God's working on something in your life if you don't have clarity around that. And that's okay. But now we get to turn things around since we're all like, wow, we're very highly aware of our insecurities. Thanks, Casey and Megan.
Thank you for the courage.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. We want to talk about 3 things that you can do to now overcome your insecurities. And so take notes, get ready, because we have worked so hard as individuals. And again, we had to do this when we were married. And it just was a lot harder because I'm seeing Casey struggle with his insecurities. I'm fixing mine. It's a lot of work, but it's beautiful when you can do that. And I do agree, babe, when you said earlier, like, I don't know if I've fully processed the job thing. Like, I think I'm still insecure. There are insecurities, I think, that are always going to be a little bit there. Like, it's the way the enemy kind of holds it on you, and you just have to be very aware.
Well, it's not like I'm sitting here going, well, I don't really care if I'm successful or not.
Yeah.
Of course I'm going to want to be successful, but it's on that scale now where was it a 10? Now it's maybe down to a 3.
Yeah, you want to see progress.
Still concerned about it. But
Yeah.
okay, let's go.
So
I love these points.
Yes, the first thing that you have to do to overcome insecurities is to have a growth mindset, which the good news is you're all here, genuinely. So, like, you chose to come here. Hopefully you weren't forced to come here. But we always say, like, our favorite book of the Bible is Proverbs. Casey, if you're coming, who's coming tomorrow morning to Sunday service? Casey's teaching, and he will be teaching on the book of Proverbs. We say it's like the book of marriage, but it's also like healthy lifestyle 101. So if you ever want to just dive into a book, it's got 31 chapters, just read a chapter a day. Because the theme of Proverbs is wisdom. Cry out for wisdom. Cry out for understanding. Knowledge is your best friend. Well, you can't do that if you're prideful, arrogant, arms crossed. I've arrived. I don't have insecurities. I don't need to grow. A growth mindset is the humility of I'm broken. I'm a sinner. I'm imperfect. I have flaws. I have insecurities. I checked 10 boxes on this worksheet. I checked whatever, how many. I made my own like being aware of that, but then keeping your mind open to say, but I want to make progress on that scale. I want to learn, grow, pray about this. That's the growth mindset. And I know, for me, I would say growing up, I was raised very poor. I was raised by a single mom. And I had a lot of insecurities. And then my parents divorced when I was, my dad, it's a long story. My dad married the mistress, by the way. So that's his 3rd wife. And they're still married. It's a long story. Again, we could sit for hours and talk about just our family drama. If you've got family drama, we're the right people. But my mom and dad were separated before they divorced for 5 years. So my dad would move in, move out, which is not ideal. And at 12, they finally legally got divorced. And I started acting out in those insecurities. And so my parents forced me to go to therapy. And I always say it's the best thing that they ever did. It was like one of the only good things that they did growing up for me. But it forced me to deal with all of the insecurities I have. And that's when I learned as a teenager to have a growth mindset. And so I've always strived to, I've got these things I got to fix and deal with. And it's been amazing to see God's journey in my life. Like, I hate when I'm like, why am I responding this way? Like, I don't want to respond this way to this person. Why am I doing that? I'm like you, girl. I'm more on the brutal honesty side and the way I come across. And I've really worked hard at, like, toning it in. But, like, again, before that and that awareness, I was like, that's just who I am. And that's just, everyone has to accept me for that. Well, if I'm hurting people, if this isn't healthy, then I need to get better and be better for me. So have a growth mindset.
All right, number 2, own your story. Own it. Now, let me just say, there are no free rides in life, right? We all carry stories of trauma. Some are capital T traumas, right, that are massive cataclysmic events. Watching violence happen in front of you, or watching your parents divorce, or someone violated your sexual boundaries. These are big T traumas. But there's also, when I look back, I was like, well, I never really had like a massive event. I was just ignored. I was neglected. I mean, I guess that is a capital T trauma, but it felt like a small T trauma. But here's what I'm saying is, Everybody has a story of hurt. And the thing is that when we deny that story, that didn't happen, or that didn't hurt me, and we kind of try to put on a brave face, we just allow that hurt to happen. And this is what I wrote. When we ignore or avoid these stories, we carry them around like silent passengers. And we're hurting. Somebody hurt us. We're now hurting, but we're trying to ignore that. Now, I want you to remember this. This is so good. This is a great way to look at people when they're acting out. Okay, see if you can follow with me. Hurt people. Oh my gosh, you guys are like star students. Hurt people hurt people. And people that deny the story of trauma carry that hurt like silent passengers, and they don't even realize it. So the next time you see one of those viral videos of somebody just freaking out, which we've all seen, right? We're just like, oh, that person just took some crazy pills. There is every time I see those stories, I go, there's a story behind that where someone's hurting. And they don't know how to express that hurt. They don't know how to own that story. And so there's almost this process of grieving. This is really, really important, guys. Grieve those stories. Don't deny it. There's a big, dark forest in front of us of pain. And all we want to do is try to go around it. But the only way through is through it. And it's scary. And a lot of us, even guys, it's scary to go through that. We don't know what it's like. But you have to own your story. To own your story is to grieve it and go, that happened. That happened. I'm processing it, or I'm healed from it. But now I can say with confidence that is something that happened to me, but that's not who I am. Does that make sense? That is something that happened to me. Yeah. That is not something that defines who I am. And I want to be honest. The entire time that we've been running Marriage 365, remember I walked into Marriage 365 running a business like I did all my other jobs, like trying to be like, hey, Mr. CEO's showing up, look at me.
But now he's working with his wife, who's his boss, and doesn't tolerate that.
No, that's right.
Yeah, poor guy.
And so there's many years, actually, I held this facade up like I'm a great business leader. And honestly, I'm not. Crazy, right? I know you laugh, but it's crazy to say that. I'm not. There, I said it. That's so freeing. Yeah, thank you.
It's not in his strength sets, but public speaking is obviously in his strength sets, right? But owning it.
And you know what? Once I said that, all this burden just left me. Because I could walk in and say, I'm not the best business leader. And now that I've admitted that, now I'm in a growth mindset. But I'd love to learn how to be a great business leader. And it's opened me up to learning how to be someone that can lead a team and to organize a team and to do that well. Handling finances in the business, I was definitely never someone that was skilled in that. And again, it was the moment when I confessed and I said, I own that. That's part of my story is I'm not that great at business finance. It opened me up to say, but now I can learn, okay? So here's
a list that Casey and I went through. I really like it. Even if I don't get that promotion at work, I am still valued.
Even if I'm still single, I'm not abandoned.
Even if I struggle in dating, I'm valuable.
Even if I haven't arrived at the level of success, God still sees me as a winner.
Even if my prayers aren't as eloquent as other people, God still listens and loves me. Yeah? All right. Okay, so the first one was growth mindset. Second thing, and how to overcome your insecurities is own it, own your story. And third, and last but not least, is surround yourself with healthy people. This is so important. We have a teenager and a preteen, and we always say, you are who you hang out with. You've heard that term before, maybe? Yeah? They also say that studies show that the 5 people you hang out with the most are your biggest influences. I would agree with this. And so if you're hanging out with people who are cocky, they don't have a growth mindset, they're not on the story, maybe they hate God, they're insecure, they're walking around, they're arrogant, whatever that is, do not think that that's not going to negatively impact you. And I'm going to say, this is a big one with family. Because we make excuses for our moms and our siblings and our dads and our cousins and our aunties because they're blood relatives. It's my mom, it's my brother. But if they're toxic and they're fueling those insecurities in you, it's probably a sign that there needs to be boundaries. Show of hands, how many of you have ever been made to feel insecure by a family member? Okay, now, the question would be, is the family member doing it on purpose and they know it and you've talked to them about it? Are they unaware that they're doing it? Okay, maybe most of them, we're gonna hope that most of them are unaware that they're doing it. But I will tell you, Casey and I's moms, they're never gonna change. So we had to create boundaries with both of our moms in order to make sure that it wasn't, because it was fueling our insecurities of who we felt that we were, okay? And so I wrote a couple things. So you want to spend time with people who are thoughtful, who love you unconditionally, who that if you shared, like, hey, I went to this really cool conference and I learned about insecurities, they're like, tell me more. Like, I want to hear about that. Wow, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were insecure about that. I'm insecure about that too. People who are going to support you, pray for you, right? Okay, so they're going to love you unconditionally, respect you. Respect is one of those things we don't see too often in life anymore, huh? We just don't respect other people. You deserve respect, by the way. Every one of us does. This is another thing. Some of you might not like it, but people around you should also challenge you. Challenge you to be better. Challenge you, not just yes people, and make you just feel good about yourself constantly. Like if you're being a jerk, a good friend in love could say, hey, listen, kind of like I love that you sisters shared. Like, my sisters told me, like, my delivery could be worked on. She wasn't like, you're a jerk, you suck. Like that would have probably been a bad delivery, and you probably wouldn't have accepted that, right? It would have been hurtful. But to say, hey, I love you, and this is who God made you, but I feel like it could be tamed down. Thank you, by the way, for being vulnerable. This is my second time saying that, but I relate to you, so I get you. And I feel like you're strong like me where you could take it. But those are the kinds of people that you want in your life that are going to challenge you and make you a better person. Yes, people who will support you, people who will pray with you, and this is a really big one. People who will make you feel emotionally safe, even when you're emotionally messy, because we all are. And if you can find those people, you can find your tribe, guess what? You won't have to overcompensate. You won't have to hide. In fact, they'll bring you out and say, I see you for who God made you to be. I see you as this person. And then you can start to heal and make progress. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so we kind of walked through insecurities. Now we're gonna kind of end on like a little bit higher of a note of like, we don't want insecurities. What do we want?
We want confidence.
Confidence.
That's the opposite of insecurities, confidence.
I was looking for confidence. I'll take, somebody said a mate. It's like, we want a mate. Yes, I know that. I get
That's why we're here.
Okay,
come on.
So let me just say this right now. I need you to start, whatever you see in the mirror is not what is attractive. What is attractive is confidence. Confidence is attractive. Some would say sexy, but it's attractive. There's something beautiful and attractive, like we're drawn into, like you have such a strong sense of self. Okay, now if you're like, I want to get there, Casey, I want to be that person. Let me give you the three, if you are taking notes, please write this down. There are 3 steps to move from a place of unhealthy insecurities, compensation, the whole thing, to a place of strong confidence. I call it a place from quicksand to bedrock. The first step is self-awareness, okay? Now, I'm going to say we live in a very distracted society. When we walk into Starbucks and people are in line, what are they staring at? Their phone, the menu. That was good. They're staring at their phone. When we have a moment where we have to sit and wait, what do? We pull out our phone. Why? Because we're bored. And in those bored moments, we feel uncomfortable. We feel uncomfortable, and we'd rather distract ourselves than to sit there and actually process.
Can I say, if you think about before technology, they'd have these wagon rides across, take days. People would have to walk to their town or their school for 45 minutes, an hour. You have to be one with your thoughts. You have to think about I just got in a fight with my brother, and that didn't feel good. Now we can use our phones, Spotify, podcasts, YouTube, whatever we want, social media, to distract us so we don't really get a chance to be one with our thoughts and our response and how we're showing up in life. And so self-awareness is really saying, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What am I good at?
What are my thoughts?
What are my thoughts, the good and the bad? What do I think about myself? What do I think about others? What are my talents that God's given me? Am I using those talents? Am I overcompensating? Am I hiding? These are the things that if you give yourself space, you'll actually grow and get better.
Okay, but that's the problem that we're experiencing in our culture is we don't give ourselves enough space. That's why when we had these 10 minutes, I was like, be selfish. This is your chance.
Yeah.
Take some time, spend some time thinking. And so here's what I'm going to encourage you is take inventory right now. How much time do I spend on Instagram or TikTok? Oh, sorry.
You get your screen report, right? Your screen time
I
report every Sunday, and you're like, ooh,
ouch.
Yikes.
Hey, even I can find myself using the restroom a little bit longer than I need to because I'm still scrolling.
We
all do it.
He
Come
escapes
on.
in the restroom.
We all do it. Okay. But here's the thing is we have to take inventory again to say, am I creating space in my life to process these thoughts, to think about these thoughts, to spend time in meditation, to invite the Spirit of God into my life? Because if we don't, we're going to be still stuck on one side with the sinking sand, this quicksand, because we're not taking the time and the energy to process, who am I? That is actually a great question to ask. Who am I? Again, with a distractible culture, we don't take time to really know who we are. And if we don't know who we are, it leads us to step number 2, and that is building confidence. Confidence, if you break the word up, this idea of having fidelity in yourself, meaning having trust in yourself. But how could you trust yourself if you don't know yourself? And if you don't check yourself, you're going to wreck yourself.
That was a lot of rhyming.
There is some depth to that one.
Self-aware people become confident people, okay? But then step 3, which is my personal favorite.
If you don't check yourself,
you'll wreck yourself.
Yes, because shotgun bullets are bad for your health. I don't know. Come on, iced tea.
Okay.
No, iced tea.
Self-awareness,
Ice cube.
confidence.
Okay.
Then
confidence. So if we have confidence in ourselves,
yes,
then we have the ability to say, this is who I am, and I'm not going to allow bad behavior to enter into my space. So boundaries.
Boundaries.
Okay, boundaries.
Healthy boundaries.
Think about prairie life, right? You'd see those posts, and it would mark, this is my farmland, right? And boundaries is saying, I'm not going to allow your toxic thoughts, toxicity to enter into my space. This is my land. Step off. Now, people without boundaries, they just allow people to walk right in, right? And they walk in, this is a hurting person, that it's hurting other people. We don't have a fence up. They walk straight into our lives, and they cause all this hurt and anxiety, and we're like, what just happened there?
Let me give you a more minor example. If you're a people pleaser or a yes person, or you're afraid to disappoint, I saw quite a few looks from those of you that are like, she's talking about me. It's okay. Get ready. So I come up to you and I say, hey, I'm moving this weekend and I need you to help me. What are you doing Sunday? Now, if you had boundaries in your life, you could tell me, you know what, I would love to, but actually I go to church on Sundays and I have a work shift And I'd be like, oh, awesome, because I respect people's boundaries. I'm like, oh, she knows what she's got going on. But if you're a people pleaser, yes person, you're like, well, I'm going to church, but I could maybe move some things around, and let me see what I can do. And then
And I want her to like me.
And I want that person to like me. And if I say no, they might not be my friend, or they might be mad. They might hold resentment towards me. So I say yes, and then guess what? Now I have resentment towards this person because they asked me to move on my one day off I had of work or whatever. And so even showing up like that, these simple things and interactions with people, or social media. I mean, when you reach as many people as we do on social media, it's millions. There's really mean people out there on social. They will say mean things about you. And I know that going out there, but I will say that when I started Marriage 365, the boundaries weren't there yet. I didn't have the confidence and the self-awareness. And so I felt like I had to reply to every mean comment or and I was literally.
No, we're really nice people.
Yeah, you don't know my heart behind it. And I had to learn these people are judging me based off of 5 words written on a post on social media. They don't even know me. They're not even trying to get curious to know me. They're just judging what they see and ranting behind a keyboard, right? So I had to create my own boundary. If I'm going to put myself out there, I have to know I'm going to get unhealthy people that come back to me. And it's amazing to see the healthy people that approach and go, hey, this post landed wrong. Can I ask for clarification? Oh, I'll talk to those people all day because they're doing it the healthy way, right? So even boundaries within social media and tech, it's in every area of your life. Yes. Yes.
So we created a list of just describing people that are confident. And again, just to review, I want to make sure I got this and everybody's got that right, is the first step is building self-awareness. We do that by processing, taking time, being bored. My kids, Dad, I'm bored. I'm like, your boredom is my gift to you. That's what I always tell them. And then
they love that.
Yeah. Then it's moving to a place of confidence. And when we're in confidence, we set healthy boundaries, which only fuels more of our confidence, okay? So those are the 3 steps of moving from a place of insecure to a place of healthy, whole self, okay?
All right.
So
we got a list. Confident and secure people do these things. You ready? If you want, you could just do a voice memo. I realize we should have probably made a slide for this. But okay, confident and secure people know their boundaries and their limitations.
Confident people know when to ask for help.
Confident and secure people know their strengths.
Confident people admit their mistakes and learn from them.
Confident people don't need to gossip.
Confident people have a purpose and live it out.
Confident people view failure as a learning experience.
Confident people strive for progress, not perfection.
Confident and secure people try new things even when they feel anxious.
Confident people don't beat themselves up for making mistakes.
Confident people can be alone and still feel secure.
Oof, that's a good one. Confident people encourage and support others in their life.
All attractive qualities, right? We all want them? All
yes. Right? Okay, we are going to, does that feel good? Is that I realized we kind of said, don't do this. And I didn't just want to walk in and say, don't do this. All right, see you guys.
Don't be insecure. Stop it.
Or just stop it. Just take those anxious thoughts and just stop it. But actually, I think we need a vision. We don't have a lot of visions, compelling visions for what we can become in life. And so I really wanted to end with making sure we have that's what I want to be. I want to be that confident person. So before we end this, real quick, I'm just going to ask you to take your phones out. Ooh. And I want you, who's on Instagram? Okay. I would love for you to follow Marriage 365. I know it's Marriage 365, but the tools and the concepts that we provide, I actually wish if we were really true to our account, it would not be Marriage 365. It would be Spouse Healthiness 365 or Healthiest Version of Self 365. Because what we talk about is very applicable in marriage as in singleness. And so give us a follow. And you're going to get good content back in your feed of just yes, these are good reminders of hurt people. That's right. I need that reminder today. So,
all right. That's it.
Okay. So we're going to go to Q&A.
I don't know if we have time.
Wait,
I don't think we're not doing
Okay.
Q&A.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't mean that you can't ask us questions later, though, if you guys come back, which I hope you all... Are you all coming back later?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay,
Oh,
good.
yeah. I'm super excited for our next talk with you guys. You guys are going to get some great, more skill sets out. So,
All right, anybody getting anything this morning? Come on now. You know how we do it. Woo! So I have a few quick announcements, and then you guys can grab your lunch, stretch your legs, use the restroom, and then come back.
Can I say one thing?
Absolutely.
Wait, one thing real quick. We're selling books in the back, and we actually have very limited stock. I underprepared. Usually I overprepare. Okay, well, here's what I wanted to say. There's books for couples. That's not for you, baby. Well, that's not right.
No, buy that now.
Oh, that's true.
Buy that now. You get prepared before you go into something, not afterwards. So, yeah, stock up.
I would say the yellow book, which is a book, connecting questions for engaged couples, is actually for serious dating couples or engaged couples. But the book that really is helpful for you in this season of life is the dark blue navy book. It's called 365 Connecting Questions. Oh, wow. Somebody typed that up for us. Oh, they took it from our notes. I was like, is everybody taking pictures of me? Hey, how's it going? I thought everybody was taking pictures of me. Yeah, 365 self-discovery questions. So there's very limited copies, but when we talked about processing childhood stuff, processing who am I, that's your book for you. Literally looks like everybody's taking pictures of me, and I'm just feeling super confident right now.
Woohoo! Love it. So, just to let you know, last night the books for the couples sold out and families sold out. So it's going really quick. So make sure that you pick up your copy. If you do not get a chance to do that, they were so gracious to give us a QR code to just order on Amazon. So before you leave, we're going to put up a slide that will have a QR code for you to go, or you can just go on Amazon and search any of those books, or just search search Married 365, and there's a 30% off coupon. It's just NCH 30. I don't think you can forget that. The coupon is good for 30 days. Please don't come on day 31. Oh, Pastor, I tried to use my coupon, it did not work. Please count from today. 30 days. So by I believe the 4th of March, it will go back to full price. So the NCH 30 to get a 30% discount off any of those books. Now, let me tell you something really quick. When I was about 17, I started living with my older sisters. And they were kind of like at your age, all single and searching. I hope it's okay for me to say that, right? Single and searching. And so I used to hang out with them a lot. And 99% of the stuff I learned about relationships and marriage was just from attending conferences with them because they didn't want to leave me home alone. And I'm telling you, it set me like way ahead of the pack, yeah? Ended up getting married at 24, got engaged at 22. So there is something to be said for getting ahead of the pack. And there's some of those things, the information, the stuff I learned, the books I read, the conferences I attended that I'm still using in my marriage 26 plus years afterwards. So just go ahead and stock up is what I'm saying. The ones you want to start reading now are the ones that they talked about, the self-awareness one. And if you're engaged already, the yellow one, which is the one for engaged couples, those things they're a resource, they're a tool. How many people here would let a surgeon operate on you who's not been to medical school? Anybody? Just by faith. I'm a Christian. God has, I have the Holy Spirit. I'm a take out your pancreas or something. Would you? No. So why are we getting married? Why are we getting into relationships without the tools, without being prepared, without the learning, without the books? Do you understand? Without the conferences, without the teaching, without the information that we need. Amen. So the afternoon session will start at exactly 1 p.m. Like 1 p.m. on the dot. This is the first time at an NCH program that I had to start late. Never done it before. Shade. I really try to hold back, but I'm myself. Forgive me, but shade. So please, 1 p.m. we will start like exactly on the dot. So the people online kept asking like, hey, what's going on? Like, what are we doing? Where's everybody? So please sign up really quickly. One last announcement. I think, unfortunately, Yemi's not here, so we'll do that after the second session. But we're starting, I don't know if you have. Oh, it's up. The Real Talk one. Okay, so I'm very excited about this. So, by popular demand and just popular need, we're going to be doing something a bit interesting this year. We're going to be having every quarter an all singles event, so not the split up ones, an all singles event with PF and Pastor AK. Alrighty, it's going to be called Real Talk with PF and Pastor AK. The first one is February the 16th, which is 2 weeks from now. Doors open at 6:30 and we will start at 7 p.m. Please, can everybody say 7 p.m.? Thank you. So, I mean that like 7 p.m. I might just start talking. Yeah, and I don't want you guys to miss out. So please bring out your phones and scan that QR code like right now. Because I only have 2 weeks. I want to make sure that I have enough refreshments and drinks and snacks for everybody. I feel so bad. Like, I hated this morning when I have to be stamping hands and saying, oh, if you didn't register, just grab some coffee. I hate to do that. I want to make sure I have enough for everybody. So go ahead and register right now. And then let your friends know as well. Spread it. We want this place to be packed. So all singles. When I say Real Talk, most of you here have maybe not been to Pillow Talk, but when we say Real Talk, we get down. Last but not the least, please leave your pens on your seats when you're going. Don't accidentally put them in your bags or your pockets because we're going to need them for the afternoon session. I'm being really salty this morning. I saw it. Not. So please leave your pens on your seats as you head out. There is lunch in the back. There are drinks on the other side. So please don't rush off. Have a drink. Have some lunch. Mingle. Introduce yourselves. Get to meet someone. If you're a guy, we still have some space for the guys for quick connections in the evening. Just the guys, I'm sorry. So if you're a guy and you're still interested in coming for the quick connections, which is like Casey does, wink, wink, pretty much like speed dating, just getting to meet people. If you're a guy, you can stop by in the front, just meet any of the people with an Ask Me badge and let them show you where to register for that. 1 p.m., we're going to start with the afternoon session. It's going to be fantastic, really fantastic. They gave us a bit of a sneak peek last night, and I can't wait. So make sure that you stay for that, alrighty? Thank you so much. God bless you.
Well,